All across the known universe, innocent voices cry out for the Masters of Lore!
What's up, everybody? We are back. I'm here with my good friend Mike Barron, the creator of Badger and Nexus. My good friend Chuck Dixon, the creator of Airboy. You're the creator of An Airboy.
And Airboy.
And Airboy. And Bane and things like you might have heard of at some point. And you got Mike Miller, the creator of Lone Star and The Injustice.
I just created an Airboy yesterday. So
An Airboy yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, you've got an Airboy now, too. Uh-oh.
Wow. Everybody should have one.
Oh, thin air.
And yes, this is what all these gentlemen are here to talk about today. Serena Williams has announced her retirement from tennis. What does this mean to you?
Nothing.
Maybe my wife will stop talking about her now.
Wow, brutal. Terrible.
look at that.
Well,
look at that build, though, man. She should be She-Hulk. Look at that.
She should be She-Hulk.
Right?
Yeah. She basically is on the tennis court.
That's rocking.
So,
That's a muscular, feminine build.
She's playing in Toronto right now, the Masters 1000 out there, and doing well. They put her sister Venus, who I think will retire also. Venus is 42, and you can't really compete in professional sports at 42 years old. Doesn't work. But but Venus got crushed last night. It depends on the steroids. Jeez. And they shouldn't have put her in a midnight match. That was pretty bad for kind of the farewell tour here. But she's gonna be doing this. She's gonna be doing a couple other lead up events to the U.S. Open, and then she'll be at the U.S. Open. Hopefully, she'll go deep into the U.S. Open so I can actually see her because I will be there.
Is there a seniors tour that they can start playing in?
They do exhibition matches and stuff.
Yeah.
But she's like a media personality star at this point. She'll make money without it. She's fine.
They should have learned from Seinfeld and got out while they were on top.
Did you guys see the movie on what was it? HBO Max, the Will Smith
No.
biopic? It was excellent. I highly recommend it.
I want to see it.
All right.
I'm sure it's on Amazon too.
But I got nothing today. I haven't been here in 2 weeks. I literally just went and watched tennis last week, and it was great. They had a wonderful hospitality tent where they just poured you wine unlimited, and I just drank wine for a full week and did nothing. It was amazing.
Wow.
And that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, I've decided.
Drink wine in a tent?
Just
sounds
be
fantastic.
a drunk. Yeah. Cool. I got something. It's moderately related to
comics.
Serena there. It's another black hero girl who apparently this is going to be her suit. Because you know how the toys are always spoiling stuff for movies and stuff?
Right.
This is going to be the Ironheart suit. Look at that.
So she's
clunky.
So she's even more masculine than Iron Man.
It's not about the masculinity. It's about the stupidity. Okay. This is like a Mach 1 level suit. She went to freaking Wakanda with all their high uppity up tech and freaking what? This is what they give her for an Iron Man suit?
Looks like a Terminator 80s like sort of concept, I guess.
It looks stupid.
Yeah.
So they give her the suit?
I have no clue, but this is her first suit, and she gets it in Wakanda, and
Has this character accomplished nothing on her own?
I have no clue. I have no
Probably.
clue. I don't think
so. Wait, I don't even know the backstory in the comics or anything. Like, I know she exists, and she's just better than Iron Man because that's how it works these days.
Yeah.
But that's all I know. Like, is there anything I should even care about with this at all?
No, I don't care about it. So I just thought it was something a friend of mine showed me, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're talking. Okay.
Oh, terrible.
We could just
need
talk
a palate
about
cleanser from
horrible
that.
writing. Yeah. We could talk about Sandman. Anybody watching Sandman?
I'm not watching Sandman. Do you guys watch?
Nope.
I never watch any of this stuff.
I watched the first three. I love Neil Gaiman, right? His writing is. I love his writing. And I watched the first 3 episodes, and boy, they should just call it Everyone's Gay. It's
oh no.
It's there's probably 7 real characters throughout the first 3 episodes, and like 5 of them are gay or bisexual.
So you think that
that's important. That's important.
That's
to the
important.
story.
Yeah, it's very important because you have to.
I must know where you prefer to put your pee-pee before I can be interested in you as a person.
Well, a couple of the characters had just the VGs. So they converted John Constantine into Joanne Constantine, played by Clara from, I don't know her real name, Clara from Doctor Who.
Okay.
And therefore put her in a lesbian relationship, which they could have just had John Constantine in a not lesbian relationship. But for some,
why?
I don't know.
Who wants to watch that?
Terrible.
It's really funny. Actually, I mean, other than the woke garbage, it's actually a really well produced show and well written.
Other than that.
Other than the woke. But no, here's the funny thing, dude. There's this guy on Facebook I argue with at least twice a month, because he's like a super lefty dude. And I posted that comment and he was like, I really hate to agree with you, but yeah, my girlfriend and I were watching this and thought it was way just.
Well, the problem with a lot of
your wokest of woke are being like.
Yeah, the problem with a lot of this is because they can do this stuff digitally and fix everything. Everything looks great.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there. It's just, there's no concentration on story or character.
I have a problem with everything looking great too, which to an extent that doesn't even work, and it doesn't look great after a while once you start to like really sink into it.
Right.
Because the overuse of CGI and everything being a green screen, everything these days means that like all of the action, even just action, like you take out all the plot and character stuff, even the action looks so fake that like I mean, I guess in superhero movies you can kind of get away with it because they have superpowers. But you watch a James Bond movie or something, he doesn't have superpowers, and yet he's jumping like he's Spider-Man across rooftops, and it's like, well, that a real person couldn't do that, and it's pretty obvious that a real person couldn't do that by looking at it. It just kind of ruins the movie.
Are you talking about the parkour stuff they were doing in James Bond?
No. I'm just giving a random example.
Okay.
Like, there's some stuff like sometimes they jump out of airplanes. Like I saw one recently. They jumped out of an airplane, and they were riding on top of like boxes that were going to parachute down, and they jumped from box to box. Yeah, Uncharted. Jump from box to. It just looks so stupid. It's
fun. It's a stupid
but it was
video
fun.
game movie.
I know.
It was fun.
But they're overusing
visually the most astonishing film I've ever seen.
Mm.
But you lose immediacy, because it's not real.
That's the deal. You get pulled out of the immersion like immediately because of that.
I mean, now car chases from the 1950s seem more exciting than the stuff they're putting out now, because it's real cars on a real street, and somebody might really get hurt.
Yeah, I remember.
Has anyone seen Ambulance?
And Ben-Hur? I mean, come on.
What's Ambulance?
It's a Michael Bay film starring Jake Gyllenhaal as a bank robber who commandeers an ambulance, and visually it's a knockout. I don't know how he did that. They must have had a drone flying around, and whoever operated the drone is some kind of genius, because it swoops up the side of a skyscraper, goes over the top, and then swoops down the other side, and then enters the ambulance. I don't know how they did it.
Wow.
Huh.
That's cool.
Interesting. Oh man. Well, that's my immediate thoughts on movies. I don't like to watch them anymore. Bright, hello, my friends. I'll greet the channel members real quick.
All right.
Hello, Brown CBR. How you doing? What's going on? Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us today. I titled the stream Unsolicited Ditko Pics because I actually got...
You're a child?
Yeah. I actually got my article published, so I was very happy about this, that bounding into comics allows me to do this, because, I mean, let's be honest, that a lot of it's like clickbait, celebrity gossip, which I love doing, don't get me wrong. But the fact that like these guys will let me write whatever I want, and this is literally whatever I want, is so awesome. I used to work for the Federalist, and I used to like try to write stories about like conservative culture. Like I'd try to do a Comicsgate story, and I actually promoted Lone Star in one, but it was like pulling teeth to get them to do it. I'd have to do some spin where it made it some sort of drama story every single time. And I even did one, like BYU was producing a sci-fi program, which was written and created by Orson Scott Card, and we talked about him last time on here. And I was very happy because Orson Scott Card was doing a sci-fi TV program. It was really low budget, and so it wasn't visually great, and they didn't have great actors or anything like that. But it did have a good family story where it's like an alien invasion, and it's a family up against an alien invasion, and it was a lot more wholesome than almost anything I've seen. Well, pretty much anything I've seen on TV in the last decade. And so I was happy. I wanted to promote that. I got an interview with the director. And I thought, that's great. Let's get this up on the Federalist. Well, they sat on it. They didn't put it out. And like a year later, like somebody found it in the inbox there. And she's like, with the editor, and she's like, oh, I guess I'll put this up here. We can't pay you for it, though. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. And not only that, but it was a year later. The show had already gotten canceled and gone off the air by the time they posted it. So these major websites often do not actually support culture on our side, and it's really upsetting. But Bounding into Comics, the good news is very different. Obviously, I got to write this, which is 10 Steve Ditko collections every comic book fan should read, which I'm very excited about. And I'm wondering how many of you guys have read out of this as I get into what goes on here. So my number 10 is A Touch of Genius, and this is Charlton short stories from 1971, all written by Joe Gill, who is a fantastic writer who really doesn't get a lot of credit, I find, these days. Are you guys familiar with Joe Gill's work?
Oh yeah. I read a lot of that stuff.
You read a lot of this stuff back in the day?
So they did a collection?
Yeah, they did a full collection. This was every story they did together in 1971.
Huh. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah. It was published by Robin Snyder, who
okay.
ran... Yeah, you know Robin.
Yeah.
And Robin was collaborating with Ditko for a long time, since the 80s, basically. And Robin did a bunch of his own comics too. He's actually worked and made shorts with some folk from like the EC days, which just beautiful art. And I'm glad this kind of stuff gets to get out into people's hands, even if people don't hear about it that much. But now you have, so you can get this.
Did Ditko ever do an adaptation of The Fountainhead?
No, he very much wanted to do his own creations and not work on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
As he went on, so he did his own. Of course, now this is his DC work with Shade the Changing Man, and visually, Shade the Changing Man is such a cool character. He's got like a suit of armor where he can project whatever he wants upon his enemies, basically. So he can make himself look like he's a giant and scare the crap out of his enemies and things like that. And it's like a science fiction romp, as he's like in a different dimension and he's accused of murder. And he has to like kind of clear his name. He has to travel back and forth between like the real Earth dimension and their dimension and all that. It's really wild. So good stuff there. And in this also, there's a 4-issue series called Stalker, which Ditko did with Wally Wood, and who did the writing on it?
Paul Levitz.
Paul Levitz, thank you. And it's like sword and sorcery. It's so cool. Like I can't believe that didn't get to continue. That was one of the best stories I've seen published out of DC, maybe ever. I don't know. Stuff you don't get to hear about these days.
Yeah, I remember when that series came out because DC was just trying anything they could to get sales.
Now, was that when they were like collapsing in the mid 70s or whatnot?
Yeah, it was during the implosion. They were doing all kinds of. They were just exploring every genre they could think of because the superhero books were selling like crap.
But that's because they were producing crap, right?
Yes, they were awful comic books. So.
Oh my gosh. So what led to that point in the 70s that like that happened? Like, I don't know much about this, the DC implosion.
I just think they abandoned. They went all in on superheroes and abandoned quality on their best-selling titles. Their best-selling titles were their war and western stuff and their mystery books, their quasi-horror books, and they basically ignored them to hire all the best talent for the superhero books. I mean, because you no longer had Russ Heath or Joe Kubert on the war books, John Severin, guys like that. And basically they replaced everybody with Filipino artists because they worked so cheaply. And nothing against the artists from the Philippines, but they didn't have what it took for the war and Western stuff. For barbarian stuff and fantasy, yeah, they were aces. But they didn't seem to understand the war and Western books, and readers sense that.
I really hate to interrupt and even bring this up, but
oh no, Mike.
Why the other picture.
We're talking about beautiful comics, and
go back to the other picture.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's just a cheap knockoff? Yeah. Well, it's a cheap knockoff of Mr. Fantastic. Well, isn't she a cheap knockoff of Mr. Fantastic?
No,
though?
In the show, no. In the comics, she actually grows her hands. In the show, it's very. Look at her hands. Her hands are actually inside of that. Those are actually force thingies.
So
when your hands grow? I mean,
like,
what a
like that,
power.
just like what they're doing there. Stupid. Yeah, it's the dumbest possible.
Wow, that is asinine.
So it's a young girl who actually has man hands.
Man, yes.
They should have called her that.
How do you handle a hungry man? The man handler.
Oh, jeez. I dated a girl with rough, kind of bigger hands once. I couldn't get over it. I was like, I can't do this. It was terrible.
That was a dude, John. Hey, can you put Nico Tronis's comment up? Because that is
okay. Good. Sure. Kamala Khan is so powerful in the MCU, no one could beat her but her husband. Oh
no.
Neil was asking something actually on topic. DC rebounded in the 80s. Sorry if this is a bad question. Yeah, I think with Crisis, DC really just prop back up again. Is that about when things kind of
with the direct
shifted
market
for them?
I mean, DC leaned heavy into the direct market, and that saved their bacon.
Interesting.
And they were doing a lot of event publishing, like Camelot 3000 and stuff like that.
Camelot 3000.
Kamala.
As I get into my list, my number 8, I put the Masters of Suspense. So Marvel put out a 2-volume set of hardcover oversized of it's just Tales of Suspense, Tales to Astonish, like all those. Somebody's echoing. Who's that?
Sounds like you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Huh. That's not good. I don't know what to do about that because I've got a mic and headphones. So this is all of his output from Marvel or Atlas from the late 50s up until Amazing Adult Fantasy and Amazing Fantasy 15, which they restored all of this stuff just absolutely beautiful restorations on this. It's stunning to look at.
I also really see where Ditko got his influence for this, though.
Oh, excuse me, boys.
No worries. I think it was Mike echoing.
Maybe it's not. What?
Is it? Testing.
Possible.
Testing. Oh, it's you, Smiller. Okay. Cool. So that's good stuff right here. Love this. Yeah. Lots of short stories in here. If you like short horror stories, it's a little of everything. They were all over the map.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's actually Mike's background.
There's so many weird concepts that I imagine Ditko came up with, and we tagged along.
And yeah, that's most of what happened. It's interesting. What's interesting also is how many, like, once you read them all together like this, they actually recycle a lot of concepts too. There's always like a guy who's like stealing or thieving something, and he's in like some supernatural situation, like it's a mummy's tomb, and he's gonna steal like the jewels from the museum or something, and then the mummy comes to life and like traps him in the little mummy sarcophagus or something, right? So like the thief always ends up getting dealt with by the supernatural thing, and that's like his punishment for being bad. Or aliens are always trying to invade, and there's always like something like they're ready to like have their invasion force come in, but the aliens actually are microscopic, so it's like the humans can just swat them away like flies. They do those concepts like probably 5 or 10 different stories, all the same one, and they just assume that like nobody's going to buy all of these, I guess, so they could just recycle them. It's pretty funny.
That's like the Kirby Big Monster stories. There's always some guy sitting at his kitchen table with his wife says, I know how to defeat Kilgore.
Yes.
You find out it's table salt.
It's interesting. Yes.
Yes, so, common table salt saved the planet. It was always
lots of recycling, but the visuals always look pretty different, and that's kind of where they, I guess, shift things up, where it gets to be a lot of fun.
Well, he would open with those killer splash pages.
Oh yeah, those
which is
beautiful.
Really ballsy on like a 5-page story to open with a splash
like have
page.
A full splash page. Yes. Yeah, that is a unique thing that they definitely don't do anymore.
Yeah, I love
but
that.
This were a lot of fun.
Love that stuff when I was a kid.
And I guess what I got out of this, it was like really like you can tell interesting and deep stories within the comics code too that are exciting and scary, because this is all post code. Who's got background noise? Oh, it's you, Baron.
He's doing the dishes.
Yeah. And like that's interesting that like the comics code really did not wreck storytelling to the degree that a lot of people like to make it out to be. I would say I think there's an overreaction.
I think it's good to have rules.
Yeah,
I think it's good to have boundaries, and you play within that.
I think what it did was it made them so afraid of crossing the line that they made the stories tepid and bland. Think, well, this won't offend anybody. And they didn't realize that you can work within the framework. I mean, I never had a problem with the comics code. I was able to work within that framework.
Right.
But a lot of these guys just sort of gave up.
Mike, did your Punisher stuff work within the comics code?
I think so. I never ran into any trouble. I had no interference whatsoever while I was writing that book until I got a new editor.
Huh. So, I think that's a pretty interesting thing. Obviously they don't do any of that now. There are no boundaries, but I kind of appreciate having like a little code or framework to work within. I mean, where that line is something to debate, I guess. But especially when it comes to stuff that goes into the hands of kids,
Well, a good storyteller doesn't need guidelines. He writes for his audience. He knows what he can do. He's not going to step over the boundary. He's not going to show spilled guts to kids or anything like that.
That's fair. Yeah. These days, they don't do that. All right. My number 7 here is another bizarre design by Ditko, the Creeper.
Dude, okay, before you...
Yeah.
I did a JLA Creeper story when I was doing JLA, and they never freaking published it.
They never published it?
It was sick. It was really, really good. But
oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Was that like an inventory story, or...
Was it what?
Was this one of those inventory stories?
Yeah.
Okay. I did a bunch of them.
So how many inventory
did they get
stories
completed?
would they just...
I mean, we penciled and inked and lettered this whole thing, and it just never got published.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it one issue? How long was it?
It was one issue.
Okay.
Yeah, they had to be standalones. They could be put in the schedule anywhere in case it was deadline problems.
Yeah.
Interesting. How many of those did you guys end up doing, like, down the line?
Well, I wrote one a year for each title.
For each title?
Yep.
Wow.
How many of those went unused?
Almost all of them.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I did like 5 Batman stories with Aparo, never published.
No way.
Yeah, standalones.
You should do.
That's crazy.
Not Batman with them.
Yeah. I did an issue of Birds of Prey with Lito Fernandez, Argentinian artist, and what it was Birds of Prey 1943, and it was told as a few weeks of a daily and Sunday comic strip of the Birds of Prey, as if they were like a Terry and the Pirates, Steve Canyon kind of thing.
Huh.
And
that's so cool.
Published. Yeah, the art's gorgeous. The art looks in period.
The fact that there's 5 Batman Aparo stories out there that are not published, like really hurts my soul because he is. I mean, he's it. He is Batman. That is crazy. I mean, honestly, they should just if they just did a graphic novel, put those out, and just said Lost Jim Aparo Batman Tales, made a nice hardcover out of it, they'd sell so many freaking copies of that.
I'll never understand why they don't. I mean, I got a lot of Punisher material. I got a whole Punisher graphic novel was never published,
and done with the art too.
Yeah. Gary Quapis, penciled in.
Gary did it too. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's Punisher in the Savage Land.
I'm getting heartburn right now.
If you go to chuckdixon.net, you can see a lot of this unpublished stuff there.
I will check that out.
Yeah.
Baron, did you write any inventory stories for these guys?
No, I think everything I wrote was published.
Wow. You guys had like opposite experiences.
It's all up to the editor.
It is. That's how it goes. So I love the Creeper, and they have a nice collection of this. Now, the sad part is I put these collections on here, guys, and for people to check out. But, of course, DC doesn't keep these in print, so you look at it.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. By the way, Mike, your Nexus archives, like the later ones, like 10, 11, and 12, are starting to get up here just like this because I think I'm guessing Dark Horse did lower print runs on the later ones.
Probably.
And it's those are getting tough to find. So if anybody's looking for the nice hardcovers of Nexus like that, they're getting pricey too. I love this. This is my favorite stuff to do is go hunting for this stuff. Nexus archives. Let's look at 11. See how it is. They don't even have one. Oh, there it is. $83 for that now.
Woo, jeez.
There you go. I think these were $39.99 cover price. So
that would send me to storage. See if I got 10 or 12.
I know, right? I was looking at so I was trying to get Mike to if he had one of these Kelly Deadman. I think it was Joe Kelly Deadman, right? Or is it
Joe Kelly Deadman?
No, who's your Deadman with?
Kelly Jones.
Kelly Jones. Sorry,
You got it backwards.
Yeah, I got a couple of them floating around. Plus, we got this giant graffiti edition.
Complete. And so I was looking for this. Oh, this is not bad. Okay, so you can still buy this pretty expensively.
No,
okay, I need to pick this up.
That's Kindle. Oh yeah, you can get the paper.
No,
back.
it's pretty good. I'm gonna pull this off my screen and do this before I forget. Okay.
Yeah, when the for the while there that the Hedge Knight was out of print, man, that thing was going for like hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah. You know, I read those in single issues when I was a kid, like when I was in college, I guess, not a kid, but I didn't know you or anything about you, Mike. So there you go. I like those. Those Hedge Knight books were good.
All those Wheel of Time books shot up in value too.
Oh, really?
The show was announced, yeah.
All right, I bought that. I just wanted to get my credit card information off the screen there. So.
We all do.
Hey, not that I'm pimping or anything, but someone earlier did mention that I'm doing the Shadow of the Conqueror book with Shadiversity, and it's getting back. I actually did this book 2 years ago, and it's finally like getting on track because with what's happening with Ripa and all that stuff, and Shad has this huge nerd audience, and it's like 3 times Ripa's audience, so we're really hoping that it like blows up. And he's adding an art book, so it's going to be like just the inks, the black and white inks, unlike probably a full size. I don't even know what they're planning, but that should
beautiful.
That should be launching relatively soon here. So those of you who are saying, might get back into comics, it's like that's what's going to drag me back into comics.
I've seen some of it, and it's
oh, I sent you. Did you read it?
Yeah. No, I was at the tennis tournament. I'll get to that this week. So
I sent him the
Mike's
That's what he was.
Send it to me.
All right. I did the adaptation on it too. So
do you think I can show any of it?
You could show some of it. Yeah, go ahead. Don't show too much of it.
I'll show the first couple pages. Look at this. Yeah. Mike's work is beautiful.
Wow.
Colors by Sunny Go. Fantastic colorist. Hope we can get him for the next issue too.
I'm still having problems with my colorist, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, big crowd page. These are painful to draw, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it starts with like 3 double page spreads. going over like some backstory and whatnot. So like
beautiful,
fun stuff.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. And I got to because I had to take a novel and break it up into 3, shorter stories. I got to add characters and like build up a through line for each arc, and then like start like there's some stuff that ends up in the end of the book that I like started planting seeds for in this book because it was I want to create the whole story to have a better through line. And it was like funny because I mentioned that to Shad, and he's like, "Oh, I should do that in the next version of the book."
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see how that does because he's friends with all those guys like Friday Night Tights and Geeks and Gamers, and I don't know, he knows he can reach out to Ripa, but like he's got 1.4 if you count his secondary channel, million subscribers. And so if he can do some cross promotion with Ripa, that'd be awesome, and could do very, very well. So we'll wait and see. But I'm already I gave my word that I would do the rest of the series, so that's what will bring me back into comics once it comes out.
Well, I can't wait, Mike. I will be picking up a physical copy of this for sure. So cool.
You can even get it leather bound.
Ooh, that's nice.
Human flesh.
We're on a little shill break here, I guess. What's this, Chuck?
Unprepped. You can get it. You get both issues come out the same week. Issues 1 and 2 because there were printing delays, and I think it's the 17th.
Is next week.
Next week.
Yes.
Next comic book day, you can pick this up, or you can still order them. And
awesome.
It's by me and Scott Beatty. We did Batgirl Year 1 and Robin Year 1 together. It's a survivalist comedy. A horrible event strikes the entire planet, and these two families who live next to each other in the suburbs in Arizona have to figure out a way to keep their families alive. But it's full of laughs.
You guys are a fantastic team. I love both those books.
Yeah.
When you co-write like this, like how do you break up the duties? What are your thoughts on it? Like how do you guys? Because comics are pretty quick to write. I've never really gotten into a situation where I was going to co-write a comic with somebody. I'm just curious about that.
Well, we work out a general plot line. We know where we're going with each issue, okay. And then with this one, I wrote the openings, and then Scott basically knew what he had to. What Scott just took the next scene. And then when he was done, I did the next scene, and we just did it like that. I think he wrote the opening for one of the issues, but most of them I did the openings.
And do you then edit each other's dialogue so it kind of flows together?
There's a lot of write through because Scott's. You're always asking yourself what's a better way to say things, and Scott's always got a better way to say something. So, but it's. It was just a fun, organic exercise. As long as he can keep up with me, because I write faster than he does.
Yeah,
so,
you write faster than
me. I'll wait a few days for his pages, and then of course my pages.
You write too fast. You have to slow down.
No, Mike. I'm never going to slow down. You can't talk me. So I would send him my pages and wait a few days, and then he would send me his, and then within an hour he would have my next set. So but it's fun. It's a fun series. It's a 5-issue miniseries from Antarctic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be picking this up too. Cool. Mike, when's your Private American launching?
It's going to launch later this month. If you take a look at the PM on Facebook, I just got a cover from Steve Rude.
Oh, sweet. Ooh. Let's pull this up.
I just saw Matt Barr's cover, man. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, wow. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, Private American is everything Captain America should be, but isn't. And when we first meet him, he's on the southern border trying to stanch the flow of drug runners, terrorists, cartels, and snakeheads. And he starts to make a difference, and the government goes crazy because they want that border open. And the artist is Richard Bonk. He's blazing through it. He's doing a brilliant job. And if you want to sign up, go to theprivateamerican.com. Get on the list.
Did you tell Steve to do sort of a Steranko thing? Because that's what I'm getting out of this.
You know, I did a little sketch for him, and it's so funny because he just did a video about talking about Steranko from his home, and you can find it on the Steve Rude page on Facebook. Dude releases at least one video a week. I try to do the same, and we're going to get back to that tomorrow. Mine are mostly about writing. Dudes are mostly about art. And I know he's a great admirer of Steranko, as are we all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to get Steranko on the show sometime. He seems like he'd be friendly towards us.
Yeah, so. You know, I've asked him several times. He says, Mike, I ain't going to do it. No.
Maybe you should ask how fast is Chuck? So I immediately came up with how many scripts could a script chuck if a script chuck could chuck scripts? Whew, I can't even say it. Oh,
Chuck writes 2 novels a week.
No,
a week.
Not true.
He dictates in his sleep.
Yes. Do you dictate?
You know, I know some successful authors who do write by dictating.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, one of them I was stunned to find out he doesn't actually write anything; it dictates.
It affects the narrative voice. I have no doubt about that. Yeah.
I've never tried it.
Earls has to do it because he's got the carpal tunnel.
Yeah, I've got wrist problems nowadays, so it's gonna. I might have to shift to that at some point.
Thank you, Love God, Bible Truth.
I guess I'll shill mine a little bit, but you guys have probably already backed this if you're in the chat. So, but this is Overmind. If you guys missed it on the Kickstarter, we are up on backer kit right now. So you've got all my beautiful editions of this science fiction epic, trade paperback, the Sashi variant. We got the hardcover, and I've got all my other books too. So if you guys want to get in on some of the other action, we've got it digitally. We got everything, and including some of the novels here. I think I put up most of the novels. I didn't put up all of them. I meant to, but I got lazy.
How's the backer kit working?
Pretty good. I've made about $2,600 so far off of it. So,
when's your last chance variant cover campaign launching?
Gosh, probably after I fulfill these. I know you don't want me to do it after I fulfill it, but
you're gonna save money if you print the variant cover together.
It's not going to change anything. No,
it absolutely is, dude. How many are you printing? Oh, are you printing digitally?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So yeah, it won't. So awesome. Hey, thanks, Neil. Appreciate it. But yeah, this is great stuff. So if you like the old sci-fi stuff, if you like Valerian, Flash Gordon, all the stuff from the Golden and Silver Age that I keep trying to just educate people about these days, this is kind of a throwback to that, and I think you'll very much enjoy it. So check it out. All right.
Here's what you do though.
Yes.
Don't do digital printing. Do your variant cover project campaign. Print them all together, overprint, so you have stock to sell through your store. It'll be cheaper than digital printing.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll try it on the next one because I'm finally getting to a point where I'm printing enough where that might make sense. Before it didn't make sense because I was only selling
542 orders, even if you're doing 1,000.
But there's a lot of digital. There's a lot of digital orders, so I'm not doing 1,000. Yeah. So that's the deal. So once I can get to a point where I can print 1,000, I will certainly do that.
All right.
But for now, it might be the next one. I think the next Overmind project might get there. We're getting real close, but not quite there yet. It's kind of exciting. So we did the Creeper. So of course I threw Doctor Strange Omnibus Volume 1 here. This is Ditko's Doctor Strange, which during the middle. So Stan Lee actually was kind of, he threw shade at this project in the letters columns as it came out. So this was all Ditko. Was Doctor Strange. Like it was his concept, his idea. Stan Lee wrote a letters column going, "This is a weird project from Ditko. I don't know if it's going to sell very well, but maybe we'll try it because we're wacky here at Marvel." He threw a little shade because it wasn't his.
Well, he admitted in interviews he had no idea what the series was about. He didn't understand any of it.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Some of the best Marvel work of the era.
If you read it as a whole work, you see that Ditko was planning on leaving. Because he sets that ending up. I mean, the story comes to an end.
It's not like a there's no usual Marvel setup of the next issue. It's just done.
Right.
And so but he did finish it, which is great because having a complete finished story like that in serial is really cool.
Yeah.
And he actually started refusing to work with Stan Lee even on the scripting end about I think 2/3 through it. So who came in to do? Did Archie Goodwin come in on this, or was it
time period? Right.
Or was it Roy Thomas?
No, this is pre-Roy Thomas.
Strange.
Roy was still teaching high school probably when the Doctor Strange was wrapping up. But yeah, he had already had a relationship with Goodwin over at Warren, so that's a possibility.
I don't know who did this. Ditko, Doctor Strange. Oh well, that's something to look up and not actually stream and try to.
And actually, if you don't already have it on the list, if you're a real Ditko fan, you need that collection of Warren stories.
I've got that.
Yeah, it's all good.
I got excited for that. So another thing that's been getting really expensive lately is the Creepy and Eerie archives have shot up in price. And so I have been getting all of those. I finally have Creepy and Eerie volumes 1 through 10, which goes up through the first 35 issues, I think, or 39 issues, somewhere in there. And I know Goodwin was the editor?
Yeah.
Or who was? Yeah. Up
he
through
was the editor and like lead writer.
Lead writer.
Most of the stuff.
Through like issue 13 or 14 before like they had budget cuts, as I recall. And then he came back for a little bit in the 30s issues also. And they had amazing, like they had Ditko in it, they had Frazetta in it, they had Wally Wood in it. Just wonderful artists.
They had every top talent in America.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't miss anybody.
No, so those archives are I originally got the Ditko artist-centric one because you told me to. And I just, when Chuck tells me to buy something, I buy it. And since it was Ditko, that was an easy sell. But then I was like, oh gosh, this is so good. So I started looking it up, and I'm like, I'd better get the full series of these. And sure enough, those creepy archives, like I think the volume 1's about $200 now or something like that.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
Wow.
So, only Ditko and Lee are credited on this. But that's I know somebody else came in to write this to do the scripting.
They weren't credited.
They
definitely weren't credited.
Creepy Archives Volume 1 is now going for. I guess you can get some used ones here, but then you're getting into good. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Acceptable. What's acceptable mean?
It was only dropped in the tub once.
That's sketchy. But these are getting hard to find, and they are some of the best comics probably ever made. So.
Oh yeah, I was devoted to those comics when I was a kid. My mother didn't like me buying them because they would have like semi-nudity in them. And
yeah, they're adult. Yeah,
but I just convinced her that I was such a student of the medium.
Oh, it is. So it is Roy Thomas.
Is it?
There you go. Yeah.
Huh.
At the very end there. Interesting.
Wow, I'm surprised. Huh. That has to be his earliest work at Marvel, right?
His was Avengers, right? Roy
yeah, but that wasn't
Thomas,
so later.
First Marvel work. Let's Google this. Was My Life Is Yours, the Iron Man feature in Tales of Suspense, 1973 and 66. So that is his first Marvel work. But this would have been the same time period, so there you go. Interesting. That's Doctor Strange. So then I start getting into the more esoteric stuff, and I get into Steve Ditko's Static. And so this is later when he's publishing with Robin Snyder, and they did a little magazine. I think they called it Renegade Magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
And they premiered this in that. And Static gets this suit, this scientific suit or whatever that he then goes and makes objectivist rants and takes down criminals with. It's amazing. you get those full 200 word rants
the
about
John
just
Galt speech.
Yes, exactly.
66 pages of drivel. It's like...
And he's got a girlfriend who is always like kind of sniveling and being like, "You shouldn't go out there and risk yourself like this." And he's just like, I must do good because good is good and evil is evil and there must be no in between. He's doing that. And so it's fantastic. And I think there's like 10 issues worth of stories in here, and they just re-released it direct on Amazon, so it's really good stuff. And I actually like this better than Mr. A. It's a little more superheroic, and like you can see the character design is just like really out there. He started using these like dots and just like very loose lines for his characters later on.
Was his superpower that like clothes stuck to him?
Yeah, he's static.
Clung to him.
Look at this wild design. My gosh. So.
Yeah, it looks very. Actually, it looks a lot like Kikaida.
What's that?
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Okay. So I recommend that.
All right, share.
Hikaida? You got it.
Kikaida.
Oh, interesting. So this is the Japanese.
Yeah, this was. I used to watch this when I was a kid in Hawaii. Friggin' loved Kikaida.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
But he looks kind of like that dude. So this was out in the late '60s, early '70s.
I wonder if that influenced it, because Static came a little later. Huh. I don't know. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
When I get to my number 4, I get into the Fantagraphics archives. So Fantagraphics did these archive sets, and I was complaining about this 2 weeks ago, of his Charlton short story work from the 50s. And this is his earliest work right here. So you can kind of see like how he evolves as an artist, because he was very not as good in 1955, 1954 as he was once he was at Marvel in like the 60s. And but that's kind of cool to see that process and how he like really comes into his own style through this. And they did a great job with this, but they like stopped. And so there's a bunch of unreprinted stories, and I'm actually now I started talking with Vanguard Publishing, who's very interesting. Well, I guess I'll go down this rabbit hole. Vanguard. So I found these guys, and they're focusing on Frazetta and Wood. And so I was actually looking for these Wally Wood stories, and I got into this, and they have just a bunch of short stories from the 50s, 60s. Here's a bunch of Wally Wood's war stories.
Wow, how did I miss that?
I don't know. How did you miss that? It's fantastic. Yeah. You should get this book immediately. Yeah. Okay. And they did his Jungle Adventures.
The show should just be called John and Chuck Tell Each Other What to Buy.
Yes. It's like we have the same interests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these were his romance stories. These were very good too. I love the romance stories from him and Kirby, and I know that they really don't have popularity even among like older collectors, but I think these are fun stories.
That'd be fun to go through and see how much like total machismo stuff is in there.
Oh, it's great. It's always a girl sitting by the phone, and she's like, "He's so dashing, and I can't talk to him." Yeah.
I like the romance books from St. John in the 50s because
those are good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the women were more with it. They were like, you know what? He's not right for me. Get out of here, you bum. I should have listened to my mother.
I should have. Yes. This one's out of print now. So the reason I found their website was I was looking for, because they actually have copies of this and it's out of print. So I was trying to find this because it's getting expensive on Amazon. Strange Worlds. This is sci-fi stuff. And then he's got a sketchbook, which I've not bought yet. And then I discovered this through it, which is the Wizard King trilogy, which I guess he's got a... So I knew nothing about this before, and I guess their book 1's out of print. I can't even find it on Amazon.
I bought them directly from Wood. He was self-published.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He had like a fan club you could join, and for $10, you got a discount, you got a newsletter, and you got a drawing of your choice by Wally Wood.
So I just got it. They had an extra one, so I emailed them,
Wow.
and I got it from them. So I've not read it yet, but
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. So you were in a Wallywood fan club?
Yeah. It was like Friends of Old Wally or something like that. He ran it himself.
Really?
He wasn't getting any work, and he needed money. But,
Interesting.
Yeah, I got a framed picture of Snorky here in my office that he drew.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so was he just difficult to work with, or like what was his story on that?
I think he didn't like being treated, outrageously like the comic companies were used to treating artists. I think he always wanted a little bit more creative control than they were willing to give him. And so, he just took a hike. He was able to, and he had one foot in the commercial art world as well. So,
Yeah.
I remember when he started Wits End, his own, the first prozine.
I'm looking for that now because Fantagraphics did a reprint of that.
Yeah.
And the complete Wits End.
Yeah, I was a subscriber
there's like
to
one.
that.
There's like one. Do you have all these issues still?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one I really had to hide from my parents. There was a lot of nudity in that one.
Yeah, he's not shy on that.
No, it was him and Gray Morrow and all those guys.
So I might run a GoFundMe for this. So Fantagraphics did a 2-volume slipcase set of Wits End for the complete. This is the cheapest I've found it.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, it's painful.
It's like one NFT.
That's like one. Yeah. Oh man, I want this very badly, but I don't want to pay $400 for it.
Awesome.
I can't. Yeah, I just can't do it.
Guys, I'm gonna have to recuse myself. I got some dog issues here I have to deal with.
No worries. Right. Thanks, Mike, for coming on.
See you next week.
Cool.
I hope.
But okay, so the story, I started talking to that Vanguard Publishing, and they do Frazetta stuff too, so it's fun. And they've been cleaning up books and restoring them since like 2003. And this guy who does that, I want to try to get him on here. I don't know if he will like us, but I'd love to like listen to him, like, because this guy obviously has a huge comic history knowledge and has been restoring all these awesome properties. And so I started talking to him about the Ditko stuff, which was unrestored, and they actually did the Charlton Space Wars book back in the early 2000s, but they did it in black and white only. And they go through Diamond. Diamond told them it would cost so much more to do it in color, and they'd only get like a 15% sales return probably in color. I think the world's changed a little since then to where I think it's easier to print in color. So they restored a bunch of those, but they didn't do it in color, and that's a lot of that unrestored work that's been done so far. So I'm like, hey, I'm interested in maybe doing this. So it's something I'm talking about with them now. So it's interesting.
Very cool.
All this stuff deserves to get seen again, I think. People aren't paying attention to it. Of course, I put my number 3, I put the Charlton action heroes. So we got the Blue Beetle and the Question and Captain Atom. I think this is some of his finest work right here.
It's a lot of fun stuff.
Really good stuff. Most people know about that. And of course, then I have the collected Mr. A, the Avenging World. A lot of this stuff came from Wits End, which you were just talking about.
Yeah.
And this is the 7. He really just went like full off the rails creative on this stuff, where it's like really out there.
I was like, what the hell? Reading Mr.
A. You got them as single issues. How old were you then?
I guess I was 12, 13, 14.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine reading that at 12, 13, 14. I'd be like,
Is this another objectivist tract?
Oh yes. This is the objectivist tract.
The objectivist tract.
Yeah.
Did this change your mind, Chuck, about being an objectivist?
No, it just like made me look at like regular comic book heroes like, wow, what a bunch of wimps. Because I mean, Mr. A is like, throwing teenagers off of rooftops and stuff. I mean, it's just, it just gets nuts.
Yeah, they were bad.
Because they were bad. They did bad things. They disappointed their parents, and they had to go.
So every one of these pages has this much text, Mike, and this is the deal. Yeah. Justice demands that man's principles be defined in terms of black and white in good or evil. Men can choose to be gray, to be corrupt, but there can be no gray, no corrupt principles. That fool thinks there is a middle of the road between good and evil, that he can have advantages of both sides, to be held as good and to be profit through evil. I'll show you where the actions of compromises of evil really take them.
And I'll beat this guy to death with a brick.
Yes.
I have the shortcut to success.
Yes. It's amazing. Here it is. Like, so this is after, so Chuck was talking about him throwing a criminal off the roof.
Yeah.
Because
you're cruel. You don't have mercy or pity.
I don't abuse my emotions. I have no. And there he is falling off the roof. See, right? I have no mercy or compassion for aggressors, only for their victims, for the innocent. To have any sympathy for a killer is an insult to their victims. Even if you weren't hurt, I wouldn't have saved Angel. It's amazing.
That stuff blew my mind when I read it. I was like, wow.
This is why I'm not an objectivist.
Yeah. What are Mr. A's pronouns? Oh, God.
I really did agree with a lot of the basic premises of, like, doing everything to the best of your ability. The basic stuff. But, yeah.
A lot of it's good, and then you take it to its extreme.
No, you don't give anything to the poor, because that's...
Yeah.
It's a philosophical rabbit hole.
Yeah. Doesn't work out so good in reality.
You can't have compassion for other human beings. It's like,
oh man,
okay,
that's so funny.
Gotta go.
And then I did. So Chuck told me to buy this, and I am so impressed with this. Even though I own this in 3 other formats already, it was worth it. This Taschen Marvel Comics Library Spider-Man. I actually met somebody. Let me see if I can find his post. So he had, I think, Amazing Spider-Man number 3. And so what Taschen did with this, they didn't just use scans of the art or whatever and then recolor it and all that. They actually went through and took, like, high-res photographs of, like, 8 or 9 CGC grade issues of Spider-Man and all the issues. They actually found collectors who had, like, perfect copies of the issues, and then went and got those photographs taken. And I'm trying to find, this guy posted, he's in a group I'm in, and he actually had one of the issues and had them come to his house and showed their whole photography rig that they used for all this. And that way they could capture the real colors from the printers back then, rather than try to do a digital recreation. I've got it. Awesome. Let's go check this out. Of things. So they just touched it up in Photoshop, so, like, if there are any problems or anything like that.
Wow.
But they kept it, and this is him. So so this is him, and he's got this issue right here. I guess it's Amazing Spider-Man 1. And they would just have this whole photo rig at his house just like this, in order to get this done. And then they have a couple extra cameras here for making this happen.
Wow.
And so it's so cool. So that's they actually took the actual issues, so that, and then because they're in such high res, that's how they could get them to be upsized like that, rather than just blowing up the originals. So it's it's much more pure to what he actually drew and what was actually printed than you could have imagined.
It's a hell of an end
Beautiful.
product. I mean, it really is an amazing book.
I love it. So, like, when I got into it, and they actually kept the covers glossy, like an actual comic cover, and then the interior were matte, like they're almost newsprint but nicer paper.
Yeah.
Like that touch of having both of those, just to print that, is really difficult. It's just beautiful stuff. So yeah, I'm happy with my purchase. Thank you, Chuck, for recommending.
I'm hoping they do Fantastic Four next.
Oh gosh, I'm surprised they didn't do that before Avengers. Like, why do Avengers first?
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. I didn't buy Avengers. Did you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't really like those that much.
I liked the first few issues when I was a kid, and then I stopped buying it.
Yeah.
When they got to the second tier, Avengers Assemble, and it's all these characters I never heard of. I'm like, okay, I'm out.
That's what they did with the JLA movie, right?
That is what they did with the JLA movie. Cool. Well, that's it. That was my whole unsolicited Ditkoing.
Very cool.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it.
I took it by all.
No.
I guess Chuck's got a new book out, which is coming out next week. Which, if I can find it again, I'll pull it up. Let's see. Where was this? Here it is. Here's your post. You have a new book called Unprepped out in comic shops next week, my friends.
Yeah, both issues 1 and 2 will be available the same day.
And what was this about again?
It's about two suburban families who live next door to each other trying to survive like a global extinction event. Cool. Their neighbor, who they always made fun of, was a prepper. And now they have to figure out where his cabin is because he's their last hope to survive. So,
was the global extinction event Joe Biden getting elected?
It's starting to look that way.
Yeah. We're heading toward the apocalypse in a hurry, aren't we?
Yeah.
The skids are greased.
I'm buying lots of toilet paper. That's all I know. So.
Dehydrated food and ammo is going to be my currency.
Yeah, I've been stacking rice in my kitchen. It's just that every time we go to the store, we buy a couple extra bags. It's just getting taller and taller.
That's like people say, well, how would you survive in a apocalypse event? And I said, well, we have lots of friends who are Korean, so they already live as preppers, so there's no problem.
That's true. And then if you guys missed it earlier, Mike Miller mentioned that his Shadiversity project is actually going to be going live pretty soon. So Mike will be back into comics, which is awesome because Mike draws beautiful comics, and I showed off a little of it right here.
Yeah, you can go through a few more pages if you want. I mean,
okay.
Well, where have you been if you haven't been in comics?
NFTs, bro. Crypto chats coming. Yeah, I've been doing NFTs for the last year. So
wow.
Best year of my life.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Look
at that cityscape. Awesome, Mike. I'm excited.
Thank you.
That coloring sure helps, man. That is gorgeous.
This is really pretty.
Yeah, he's great. Like I said, I hope we can get him for the rest of the series because it should be another 2 books after this.
And the Shadiversity guy's awesome
the artwork at all.
So.
Yeah, and lettering by Dave Lanphier.
Beautiful. Cool. So that'll be coming out soon. And of course, you guys, if you have not already, which I like I said, I think pretty much everybody who watches probably has, you can still get my Overmind science fiction graphic novel pre-ordered right here. And that's it. That's the show.
Let's go.
Right.
We'll be back next time. Same bat channel.
God bless us, everyone.